Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the very first video of Congolana travels, and I will take you to the National Tulip Day in Amsterdam, which was on the 18th of January 2024. It was my first time attending, and I do not live in Amsterdam, so I had to drive there first. And as you can see, it is very much foggy, and I was afraid that there wasn't much to see because of the fog in Amsterdam, but it was not as bad, thankfully. So I was driving to Amsterdam and I parked my car outside of the city center in order to avoid the astronomical parking costs, which is close to €7 an hour. So I parked my car outside of the city center and then I took the tram to Museum Square, where the National Tulip Day is being held. The tram was pretty much packed. Apparently everybody was going to National Tulip Day, and as I said before, I had no idea this day existed despite being in Amsterdam for about 10 years. And I took the tram to Museum Square, where I got out just like everybody else. And while walking to the square, it did not look as packed, but when I got closer, that's when I realized that there were probably a few thousand people in total who were attending. So a lot of people know about National Tulip Day, except for me and my friends, because they also had no idea. As you can see here, it does not look very much packed, so I was walking. I just wanted to go at the end of the line, but once I got closer, I figured out that the end of the line was nowhere in sight. So I just kept walking until I found the end, which I ended up not finding. So I just decided to go and stand somewhere. So while I was walking, I realized that there was no end of the line, I guess. And I kind of regretted showing up this late because I was supposed to show up 2 hours before it started. The Tulip Day started at 1. I wanted to get there at 11, but I ended up showing up at 12:30 or 12:40, I believe, so 20 to 30 minutes before it started. And yeah, so as you can see, there were a crap ton of people, and thankfully I just ended up following a group of people, and I just stood wherever they stood, and I decided to just stay there. So the National Tulip Day officially started around 1 p.m. So at 1 p.m. there was a little countdown, and that's when they, I believe, opened the gate, but I had no idea what was happening because I couldn't really see what was happening at the front. It actually looks like I was very close to the entrance, but it was not. At where I was standing, I had to wait for over an hour in total from the time that I arrived at the museum square until I got in. I waited a total of 2 hours. So from where I was standing, the waiting time was, I believe, maybe an hour and 30 minutes or so. And as you can see, the number of people had increased by a lot. And at first, I didn't understand why. It actually turned out that there was another entrance because my friend who arrived much later than I did came in around the same time as me. So once you get to the actual entrance, you will see some volunteers who are handing out paper bags. These are the bags that you're supposed to put your tulips in. And yeah, so you can just walk in and pluck some tulips for free. And I believe that you could take up to 10 tulips at once, but I saw people walking away with way more tulips in grocery bags, which I believe was not allowed, but hey. So we ended up waiting for so long that people were actually cheering once they were allowed inside. So after waiting for 2 full hours in the freezing cold, we finally got in. And to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed about how small it actually was. It looks really large on the video, but I promise it's not. You can even see the green fences, and there are a lot of people standing outside of the fences who were asking people to hand them a few flowers. But overall, it was actually fun. They had different tulips in different colors, and they even had some little frames where you could take some pictures. The volunteers were actually super nice, and many of them would just take pictures for visitors. And the little orange bridge that you see at the back is not the entrance. Actually, it is completely separate. So in order to get on that bridge, you also have to wait in another line. And I did not feel like it because I already stood for 2 hours in the freezing cold, so I was not about to do that again. So here you can see me and the tulips that I was able to pluck. So after we had our flowers, we left. My friend went home because she had a few errands to run. And I decided to go inside a small cafe nearby to warm up with some tea and a little piece of cheesecake, which was pretty expensive actually. The tea was €3 and the cheesecake was 5, so I ended up spending around €8. But to be fair, the National Tulip Day was actually free, so those were my only expenses for the day. Once I had warmed up a little bit, I decided to walk to my car because I was doing a little step counting challenge with my sister, and I had to get some of my steps in, so I decided to walk to my car, which was a little over 3 kilometers. And I was warm anyway, so it was not a big deal. I used to walking a lot. And by the time I actually got in the car, it was already dark, still foggy, but it wasn't as bad as during the day. So my overall opinion of the Tulip Day, it was a lot of fun, but I'm not sure if I would do it again next year simply because it was really, really cold and the waiting time was long. I was dressed really warm, but I think that I could have prepared better by bringing hand warmers, for example. But we were very lucky because it rains a lot in this country, and this day it was not raining, there was no wind. So the weather was actually perfect for this time of the year. And I ended up only spending €8 for the cheesecake and tea, which is a very cheap, actually free activity if you do not count the travel costs. So thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.